Well, good morning, everybody from Christ Youth Unveiled Church. I am coming to you live from Chicago, and this is live. This isn't pre-recorded. I do a Bible study every morning at 8 o'clock a.m., and I've been in Chicago for the last 10 days to visit my daughter and grandchild and my new grandchild, Elizabeth, Isabel Grace. Isabel Grace Holtzkopf. Anyway, so she's just absolutely wonderful, and I've been posting pre-recorded video every morning so that it posts as a premiere video on Facebook at 8 o'clock a.m., and for some reason this morning it just didn't work. I'm not entirely sure, and so it's also cross-posted to Facebook or to YouTube, and that one seemed to be working just fine, but for some reason the Facebook one wasn't working. So every day in this coronavirus, we learn out something new about how this technology is working. But I thought it's raining outside here in Chicago. I don't know what it's like in Arizona right now, but it's raining outside in Chicago, and I thought I would just kind of give you a brief update. Every morning at 8 o'clock, I do a Bible study. We're going through the book of Genesis. But before that Bible study, I'll spend a few minutes talking about different things about the congregation, about how it's, what the world's looking like, things like riots or coronavirus or monuments that are being torn down or whatever. I'll spend a few minutes on that. I don't even talk about our church and kind of things that we're doing. But not everybody watches the Bible study, and not everybody goes back and watches it. So I think what I'm probably going to do is at least once a week, and this is probably the second one, is I'm just going to kind of give you a brief update to the congregation and where we're going and what we're doing, so that if you don't watch the Bible study, at least you're in the loop on kind of the things that are going on in the congregation. And so this isn't going to be very long. This is maybe 5 minutes of your time. So please, if you know anybody that's curious, share this video with them. It'll be it's on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube. But this is just kind of give you a brief synopsis of what we're doing. First and foremost, as I've said many times, this coronavirus is 3 times as contagious and 10 times as deadly as the common flu. Now, that being said, there's also no cure, there's no treatment, there's vaccine. There is no vaccine. We are, apparently there is a new drug called dexamethasone, which if you're on a ventilator, it shows that it increases your survivability quite a bit. Or at least statistically significant, and so that may be a treatment that we'll start to see across the board. But even with that, it's still a very, very contagious and deadly disease. And even though there are some governors that are releasing things and allowing churches to worship and groups to get together, as I've looked at it, it's been my opinion that the best source of information is the CDC, Center for Disease Control. So that's what I'm following, and they are still saying that groups no more than 10 should get together. So that's kind of what I'm following. We do have space where we could gather together on Sunday morning. Even though we can't gather at Cienega High School, we could gather at the Ministry Center. But as I look at it, I'm not ready there yet, and neither is the staff. So we are, if we do get together, we are going to follow the CDC guidelines, which means that we have no more than groups of 10 in the building, or families of 10, groups of 10 in the building at any one time, and we're going to clean between groups, and so all those things we're following as much as we can. We want to keep everybody as safe as possible. And so we did a communion service back in June. We're going to do another communion service in July, probably follow the same format that we did last time. You'll sign up for it. When you sign up, you get a slot. When you get there, you get out of your car, you go in, have a short little communion service. It was 12 minutes last time. It was a confession, absolution, a reading, a small 30-second to 2-minute sermon, and then it was a communion, and then people left. It was very safe. And we're going to do that again on July 18th. So please look for that. And we are trying to keep it as safe as possible. Also, one of the feedbacks we got from that was that for some people, the standing for 12 minutes was very, very difficult. So we are going to try to arrange to where the last communion service or maybe the last two communion services, you could sit down. One of the issues there is that once you touch something, then we have to clean it between the services. So we might have some standing services, we might have some sitting down services. So sign up, but if you need to sit down, which is perfectly acceptable, then please sign up for one of the later services. Also, another thing that you should know is that as a church, we think we're going to be in this for the long haul. This isn't going to be over by this summer. And there are people who do not feel comfortable yet arriving or even coming to a communion service. And so they're watching online, they're keeping abreast online, but they don't feel comfortable showing up. And one of the things we've decided as a staff is that we don't want the Sunday morning service to be second rate. Once we start meeting on back together again, we want to make sure that the online presence is as good or better than the in-person presence. We did a lot of experimental things in May, a couple in June, and so and what we're trying to do is figure out what works well online and what really needs to be in person. And we know that communion really should be in person. That's why we're doing the in-person communion stuff. But a Bible teaching or a reading or some music, some of that stuff works really, really, really well online. So we're going to keep those online. And going forward, I think this is something that you'll just notice from us, is that we've always been a church that meets together and has tried to cobble together an online presence. But what we're moving towards is an online church that also supplements that with some in-person stuff. I think if you're watching this online, and you don't feel comfortable yet showing up for church, we don't want you to get a second-rate experience on Sunday morning. We want to try to make it so that your Sunday morning experience is as good or as if not better than the people who are showing up on Sunday morning. And that's kind of a mental shift that we've done, and we're hoping that we can live up to that because we really, really want to honor and respect. If you're not ready to show up yet on church on Sunday morning, then we want to make sure that you're as safe as possible and you don't feel like you're kind of getting a second-class experience for that. So that's something we're striving for. We also stream our worship services on Facebook on Sunday morning, but we've experienced some Facebook issues, and also, like this morning, it didn't work, but also not everybody feels comfortable being on Facebook as a platform. You have to sign up for Facebook. You have to have a Facebook presence, which some people just really aren't there yet. So we are also streaming on YouTube, where you don't have to sign up. You can just show up on YouTube and watch the video. And I think we might make a transition from Facebook to YouTube at some point in the future. But if you don't feel comfortable with Facebook, you're welcome to see it on Facebook. And we are streaming both on Facebook and YouTube going forward. And then we may even have other venues. We might do Instagram or who knows what moving forward. So the communion is on the 18th, online presence, and like I said, this is something that I think, at least for the next foreseeable future, until there is a cure, a vaccine, or a treatment, I think you're going to find people who are simply just not comfortable yet going out. And I would say, every person has to decide for them. Don't let politics, don't let government, don't let anybody tell you how you have to live your life. You can figure these things out on your own. The one thing I would say is that if you do go out, not only wear a mask for other people's sake, but if you go to a place where the vast majority of people aren't wearing a mask, it's perfectly acceptable for you to look around and say, this isn't safe for me, so I'm going to try another place or try another time. The most important person to take care of you is you, and you have the freedom and the opportunity to do that. So I would highly recommend that. These are challenging times. First it's the pandemic, and then it's the riots, and then it's the monuments, and then of course technology fails. And everything doesn't go as planned, but God is still in charge. And God can use all these things, to do amazing things in his kingdom. He is not stepping down. He is providing an opportunity for his church to do amazing things. I say this in the Bible study, and I'm going to say it again here. There's lots of problems because of sin in the world. And really the only cure for that, the only thing that we can do for that is to spread the good news of Jesus, spread his grace and his love, live as he wants us to live, and help and to be the agent of change for love and grace in this world. And that truly is something that we can do no matter what the situation is. So that's kind of my little brief Friday time with you. Join us for Wednesday night prayer service. Join us for Sunday morning worship. Join us for Bible study. Look for opportunities to connect with other people. But stay safe. And I think we're in this for at least a few more months, and it could be even longer than that. So I pray that God overwhelms you with his grace and his love and his peace. And thanks for spending time with me this morning. God's richest blessings to you. And like I said, we'll probably do this about once a week. All right, take care. God's blessings.